Pentagon just shut Kim Jong Un up with what they did overnight after he threatened second missile. Just when the United States thought we might have a little peace with President Trump sitting in the Oval Office, we realized that we were dealing with a massive imminent threat from the bully that is North Korea. The US has asked nicely, we've sent friends to talk to the dictator, we've talked to their neighbor to the south and done just about every diplomatic move possible to get North Korea to stand down, but they persist. The news that the unchecked dictator, Kim Jong Un, has missiles that could cause massive loss of life has caused us to take drastic measure, moving our Navy into position to defend ourselves. Mr. Jong Un may think he knows what he's up against when he threatens the United States, but it's doubtful he would stand a chance in a situation of all-out war. Since the US doesn't want to end up at war, we've done what we can to avoid it, but the time has come to let the world know what we will do to protect our own people. I hope that North Korea has some good translators because they need to know that we are not going to take this lying down. Not for ourselves, or our allies. The U.S. Department of Defense detected and tracked a single North Korean missile launch today at about 10:41 a.m. EDT. We have assessed that this missile was an intercontinental ballistic missile, as had been expected. The missile was launched from Pyongyang and traveled about 1,000 kilometers before splashing down in the Sea of Japan. We are working with our interagency partners on a more detailed assessment. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, determined the missile launch from North Korea did not pose a threat to North America. Our commitment to the defense of our allies, including the Republic of Korea and Japan, in the face of these threats, remains ironclad. We remain prepared to defend ourselves and our allies from any attack or provocation. In case the innuendo is lost on you, that roughly translates to, we see that you're still unable to do major damage to us. Should that perception change, get ready for the full force of our military raining down on your head. We're ready when you are. We should take the time to appreciate that they're saying attack or provocation. That means that we don't plan to wait to be bombed first. If they make noises like they're ready to go to the mats, we've got our missiles warmed up and ready to go. While we're not ready to let American loss of life happen for no reason, we're also holding back for the sake of the persecuted people of North Korea who are regularly killed for things like watching movies from Hollywood and who grew up believing that the royal family could read their thoughts if they had any anti-regime ideas. Those are the reasons that we've not dealt with this problem already. Innocent civilians with no place to go. In April, Reuters reported our movements in anticipation of an event like this. Washington, Reuters, the Trump administration said on Wednesday it aimed to push North Korea into dismantling its nuclear and missile programs through tougher international sanctions and diplomatic pressure, and remained open to negotiations to bring that about. The U.S. stance, which appeared to signal a willingness to exhaust non-military avenues despite repeated warnings that all options are on the table, came in a statement following an unusual White House-hosted briefing for the entire U.S. Senate followed by a briefing to the House of Representatives. The statement from Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis and Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats described North Korea as an urgent national security threat and top foreign policy priority. The president's approach aims to pressure North Korea into dismantling its nuclear, ballistic missile, and proliferation programs by tightening economic sanctions and pursuing diplomatic measures with our allies and regional partners, the statement said. The United States seeks stability and the peaceful denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We remain open to negotiations towards that goal. However, we remain prepared to defend ourselves and our allies. Democratic Senator Christopher Coons told reporters after the White House briefing that military options were discussed. It was a sobering briefing in which it was clear just how much thought and planning was going into preparing military options, if called for, and a diplomatic strategy that strikes me as clear-eyed and well-proportioned, Coons said. Tillerson will chair a ministerial meeting of the UN Security Council on Friday that is expected to discuss tougher sanctions, which U.S. officials say could include an oil embargo, banning North Korea's airline, intercepting cargo ships and punishing Chinese and other foreign banks doing business with Pyongyang. U.S. State Department spokesman Mark Toner said another means of diplomatic pressure would be for nations to close North Korean missions and to ostracize North Korea in international organizations. China objects to North Korea's weapons development and has called for a return to international negotiations, but U.S. officials have said Washington sees no value in talks until Pyongyang shows it is serious about denuclearization. The top U.S. commander in the Pacific, Admiral Harry Harris, told Congress on Wednesday the system would be operational in coming days and suggested Beijing should focus on influencing North Korea rather than worrying about a purely defensive system. U.S. officials have warned that a conflict with North Korea could have a devastating effect on ally South Korea and U.S. troops based there, a point Pyongyang underscored by a big live-fire exercise on Tuesday to mark the foundation of its military. Harris conceded that North Korean retaliation to any U.S. strikes could cause many casualties, but added that there was the risk of a lot more Koreans and Japanese and Americans dying if North Korea achieves its nuclear aims and does what North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has said it's going to do. North Korea has vowed to strike the United States and its Asian allies at the first sign of any attack on its territory. In a show of force, the United States is sending the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier group to waters off the Korean peninsula, where it will join the USS Michigan, a nuclear submarine that docked in South Korea on Tuesday. South Korea's Navy has said it will hold drills with the U.S. strike group. Harris said the carrier was in the Philippine Sea, within 2 hours striking distance of North Korea if need be.